The House will come to order.
It was a quiet day on the floor during Monday's House floor session, but the business of the legislature started to pick up speed this past week, with many House committees meeting for the first time. Minnesota's environmental issues were a topic of discussion for several House committees and divisions. On Tuesday, members of the House Energy and Climate Finance and Policy Division heard testimony from climate experts on the impact climate change has on the state. Former University of Minnesota Extension climatologist and meteorologist Mark Seeley was one of the experts that provided information for members and the public on how climate change is affecting Minnesota.
There's geographic disparity in what climate change is doing, in both the signals, the measured signals of climate change and its consequences. We all acknowledge that, and it's highly visible to anybody that's got a pair of eyes. But right here in Minnesota, right in the heart of the North American continent, we occupy a piece of American real estate that is seeing some of the most profound changes of anywhere in the country.
Two University of Minnesota professors provided detail on some of the ways the environment is being affected.
There is not an increasing trend in warming in summer in Minnesota, and in fact, that trend is not super large. Winter, however, is having a significant increase in its warming rate. And in fact, Minnesota is one of the top 3 fastest warming states in the nation. And Minneapolis and Mankato are 2 of the 3 fastest warming cities in the nation.
For Minnesota, the extreme and severe weather events that are going to matter and do matter are things like heat waves, droughts, heavy rainfalls and floods, windstorms, and wildfires.
The fight against chronic wasting disease was at the forefront of the discussion during Tuesday's House Environment and Natural Resources Finance Division meeting. Chronic wasting disease, or CWD, is a highly contagious, fatal neurological disease in deer that persists in the environment and can be spread within a short time after exposure.
For chronic wasting disease, it's spread animal to animal, so urine, feces, saliva. One of the challenges we have with identification of this disease is that the symptoms don't manifest until very late in the disease stage. So it's anywhere from 12 to 36 months between onset of getting the disease to when you have symptoms, and up until the last few months the animals look normal.
DNR officials were on hand to provide information on CWD and answer members' questions and concerns. To date, the Department of Natural Resources has found 36 CWD-positive deer in the state. Aquatic invasive species is one of the other issues that are affecting the state's environment, and on Wednesday, the House Environment and Natural Resources Policy Committee were brought up to speed on how non-native species are finding their way into the state's waters, crowding out native plants and animals, and disrupting the food web that holds these ecosystems together. However, representatives from the Minnesota Aquatic Invasive Species Research Center said that progress is being made in the fight to manage aquatic invaders.
There is more to go with impacts. We need to understand trends over time. We're looking at a snapshot right now. Prevention. We need to bring in the social science people. We need research in that area to look at behavior change and willingness to comply and why people are motivated to do things. With early detection, we've made a lot of progress there, but there's still work to do to continue to refine and tweak the methods. Control, we'll scale this up, and eventually, I can't wait to the day when we test this at a whole lake level and make progress in management. We'll always be working with managers to continue to better spend our resources.
It wasn't all about the environment this week. On Wednesday, the House Housing Finance and Policy Division meeting heard testimony from members of former Governor Mark Dayton's task force on housing. Task force members reported to the division that the growing costs of housing, healthcare, education, and transportation have outstripped average income increases, making home ownership increasingly difficult for Minnesotans to achieve.
So first and foremost, we believe that it is critical that all of us come together to acknowledge and commit to the centrality of affordable and attainable homes for Minnesota's future. And this was one of those discoveries that we are losing a competitive advantage that has always been a hallmark of our state. This means that we have to devote attention and resources as needed across all sectors to achieve this particular goal.
Former Governor Mark Dayton established the task force in 2017, charging its 28 members to find solutions to the problem. The group traveled to Austin, Little Falls, Sleepy Eye, Duluth, Crookston, Minneapolis, Golden Valley, and St. Paul over a 6-month period to talk with citizens impacted by the state's housing shortage. For more information on what happened at the House this past week, check out our Session Daily work on the House website, www.house.mn/sessiondaily.